With Son and Salah both away at major tournaments, players dropping like flies, getting injured almost every game week, we have a serious problem on our hands as FPL managers. Let's take a look at my personal team to see how I'm going to figure out these problems in my latest team selection video. Let's of course get straight into things today. Now today's video is going to be a lot different to what it is normally. I've done a slightly different style of video like this in the past and it was received quite well, with everyone including myself being away from the FPL scene for what seems like forever. It's been a long time since a Premier League game, it seems. We've got a lot to catch up on and I want to just run through my entire team with no transfers made to it and just talk about the process of what's going through my mind with my players, and hopefully that helps you along with your teams and your players. I'm going to give you as much news as I know and as I am possibly fit within this small YouTube video, but I'm going to give it a good go for you guys. So of course we are going to start in goal with Areola. Now he's starting to come in to some good fixtures. West Ham defensively, we just don't know whether they're good or bad. It's hard to tell at times, but Areola's got his place back. That's all we really, care about, that 90 minutes from him. Good fixtures are coming this week, especially with Sheffield United away. Slightly different team as they were to the start of the season, but I feel as though if West Ham are playing to their best abilities, they can really get something out of that game, possibly a clean sheet. Moving on, of course, into our defence now. We're going to move up through the team. Going to start with Colwill. Now Colwill, I just don't know what to feel about Chelsea's defence. Now I'm more than happy with going, I'm going to go away from a Chelsea defence into someone like an Estepinian. Just with the defenders I already have, I feel as though I cover a great basis on my defence and I'm relatively happy with most of my defenders, but Colwill is starting to bug me and it could be the case I move him on. It's just, I'm not sure about Estepinian. And let me just talk through that because it is a big transfer. Everyone's talking about this. He scored some fantastic goals recently. It's just Brighton's clean sheets really put me off. Now, I'm not saying Chelsea are any better at clean sheets. However, defensively, it would seem Chelsea have a slight edge over Brighton, with Brighton hardly keeping any clean sheets this season within their Europe journey. It's a bit worrying. However, I feel as though if you're bringing in a player like Estepinian, you're really not expecting those clean sheets. You're going for the attack and returns. I think everyone kind of understands that when bringing him in. Minutes for Colwill, a bit unsure of, but I'm happy to keep him in for one more week because I've got other important transfers to do. But it's a bit iffy with Colwill, and Estepinian could be the person to replace him. Pedro Porro, yes, Sonny's went away with the Asia Cup, trying to win with South Korea, of course. Pedro Porro remains in the team. His numbers are fantastic. Yes, he's not got Son to possibly put some of these goals and these chances away. They have just signed Timo Werner on a loan. Could be available for the weekend. We don't know any more details than that really at this current point, but that is somewhat exciting and not at the same time with owning Spurs players. I'm really happy that Spurs are doing well. I enjoy watching the type of football they play, but when Son isn't in the team and you're looking at maybe a Richarlison on the left and Timo Werner through the middle, it just doesn't sound very good. And yes, I know Richarlison has been doing pretty decently numbers-wise recently. I've never been sure on the player. It's just the consistency of the player. If he proves he's consistent, by all means, I would love to bring Richarlison in. But just having that Spurs defender without, the likes of Maddison and now Son, it does worry me a little bit. But I'm very happy to hold him, of course, for the foreseeable future, even until Son comes back. I don't think Pedro Porro would go anywhere. Gabriel, Arsenal defender. Arsenal recently, strange bit of form. It kind of puts me off going for Arsenal attackers at this moment, but I feel as though one of those Arsenal attackers is a clear option, and I'll talk about that very soon. Moving on, Alex Moreno. Luca Digne, as far as I'm aware of the news I've heard recently, is just still injured, and if anything, won't straight away start over Alex Moreno. Alex Moreno played in the cup tie the other week. I say the other week, it was last week, I believe. Yeah, numbers for Alex Moreno, fantastic. We just need a game week where he can prove those numbers, and I think possibly this could be the game week. An Everton team that are okay in form at the moment. Going away to Everton will never be, an easy thing to do, especially this season with that hostile environment. They're very upset with the Premier League, getting that minus 10 pointer. I think the fans are really behind Everton, but I feel as though Villa have something to prove and they're in a really great position. I don't think they want to give that up too easily to a team which is, not as great as them in terms of quality, I would say. Yeah, that's Alex Moreno. Overall, that is the defence. Let's quickly talk about my midfielders. Now, there's not a lot to talk about here. If we're being really honest, there's not a lot to talk about because two of these players are just not available whatsoever. Son and Salah are both away at major tournaments. Yeah, the replacements for these guys are pretty clear in my mind. I feel as though you could go to possibly a Saka. Maybe Son to Saka is probably the move I'm going to be doing this week. Although Saka hasn't been great in he's getting a lot of stick on social media. I think you kind of have to back him with his numbers at this point. His numbers are great. It's just whether you really want to pay 9 million for someone who's slightly out of form in a team that is slightly out of form as well. Yes, he's on penalties. Of course, at the start of the season, he got some penalties taken away from him. Really strange situation, but I feel as though the options are somewhat slim for Son and Salah. There's only a select few players I would really, go for. It could be the case that this week I transfer Son out, put Gordon in for Salah, and then get a replacement midfielder and still have that 3 in midfield. Yeah, there's a lot of debates, a lot of information we really need to wait on for these transfers. The likes of Bowen, is he going to be available? I think he could be injured quite severely, which is a bad news because that was a transfer I was really hoping of doing. I still don't know too much about that situation, but it seems it is a slight longer term injury than I thought. Palmer, who of course is available, played in the cup tie against Middlesbrough. Nothing to write home about. Chelsea actually lost that game 1-0. Strange team, Chelsea. They really are, but I feel as though I've got to stick by Palmer. He's a fantastic asset. A lot of people own him now. Yeah, great goal scorer. The finishing is fantastic. It's just, is he going to get more and more minutes with Nkunku coming back in the squad? In my eyes, yes, because, he's proved his quality. He's going to play all the time and just keep oozing quality for that team. If anything, Nkunku and Palmer in the same team would just link everything together, which Chelsea really have been missing in that final third. Moving on to Nkunku, though, while we are on that topic, he is slightly flagged in the FPL app. There's a yellow flag on him. I don't really know if he's going to play, if he's not. Of course, it seems like it's a new injury, so possibly he's rested maybe just this week and comes back the week after. I'm just not sure. Maybe it's a good idea in my case that I transfer both Son and Salah out and get 2 replacements and put one of them on my bench, or even just keep Gordon on the bench. Therefore, I would have a full starting 11 plus 1 on the bench being Gordon. And then if Nkunku didn't play, I've always got Gordon to come on and kind of support me in that way. Solanke, of course, we spoke about this recently. He's coming into hard fixtures now. A possible sell over the next 2 to 3 weeks, in my opinion. We've just got to hope Bournemouth's form kind of continues while we still own this asset. Of course, he's not a top priority to get out, so I don't think anyone's going to be focusing on that man. Watkins, Everton away, decent fixture, could be a captaincy shout. Of course, the numbers aren't fantastic for Watkins at the moment, not scoring too many goals as we would have hoped with the fixtures he had, but overall I think a lot of us will be happy just to keep Watkins in the team. The bench itself is a mess, I have to admit. It's not been a great priority getting rid of Lamptey, Adingra and players like that. There's been other things to focus my transfers on, and that has helped me in the ranks. Just to speak quickly on my rank last week, it was around 300k, a massive drop off for myself. I just got my captaincy pick wrong. I went with Nkunku. I was trying to be bold with it. It was a Luton away fixture. Chelsea had a decently strong squad. It was just my belief in Nkunku scoring a few goals was put down by him starting on the bench. He looked really creative when he came on, but when Luton were just attacking in that second half, he didn't get a sniff at goal, I'm afraid. But at the end of the day, I had a gut feeling that he would have been a great captaincy pick that week. It just didn't work out. Liverpool absolutely dogged Newcastle. Yeah, you can just never predict these things sometimes. Although I did say I was going to captain Salah, I did go with Nkunku on that week. That just happens in FPL. I'm going to be obviously bouncing back and attacking my rank in the next few weeks. We're going to get back up there, don't you worry. So, yeah, overall, let's just recap the possible transfers. I like the look of an Estepinian in for a Colwill, although it is not a top priority whatsoever. Even I could focus on getting Lamptey out of the team and putting Estepinian in for him. It's just a case I will have 5 defenders and have sort of a benching headache from week to week, which isn't ideal in my situation. The next sort of situation would be getting rid of Son and Salah and keeping Gordon on the bench. The sort of replacements I'll be looking at are the likes of a Saka, maybe a Richarlison. Kulusevski as well is a massive one I really like the look of. Yeah, there's a lot of options out there. It's just, are they as quality as we really think? A lot of people talking about Pascal Gross. I'm just not sure about that. It's not the typical pick that a lot of FPL managers will go for. Yeah, it's going to be a strange week going into this one. And a lot of players, a lot of FPL managers have a lot of injuries. Of course, we now have the ability to wildcard again, going past that point and being able to access that is a good little thing to have in the back of my mind. I just don't think this week is the week to do it. I really don't. I feel as though we're waiting on a lot of news still, and things could drastically change from this week to next week. We could have De Bruyne and Haaland coming back next week. We could have possibly Trent back early. I know a lot of people have sold Trent because he is injured at the moment. There's a lot that can change from this week to next week. So if you are thinking of wildcarding, just be sure to take in as much information for the long-term plans of your team as much as possible. That's the only advice I would give on that front. In terms of a captaincy pick, really difficult to say. I would possibly look if I'm going to bring Saka in to captain Saka. You've got the likes of Watkins there as well with a decent fixture. There are options there. It's just Saka looks like the best option, especially if I'm bringing him in this week. If you're still watching to this point now, I just want to thank you so much for watching all of my YouTube video. If you've enjoyed it and want to see more of my videos, please consider dropping a subscribe and even a like on this video. But that is everything for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye for now.